In my life, multiple people have said to me, "I bet you're an only child." I don't think it was a compliment. I'm actually a middle child. I'm also the only girl. My brother Evan is 3 years older and Chris is 3 years younger. We've always gotten along for the most part. I do remember bullying poor Chris when I was trying to be a cool 6th grader and he was a terrified 3rd grader. I'd spot him in the hallway at school and basically just yell his name in the most annoying way possible. "Hey, Chris!" I was a wonderful sister. Growing up, Chris was the shy one. He'd cry when he had to speak in class or give his meal order to a waitress. But despite his sensitive spirit, he was a silly little goofball. The faces he made in family pictures are legendary, from the classic hands wiggling in the ears to the more advanced comedy underbite. A decent photo of him does not exist. Chris and I played games of imagination together, particularly out in the backyard. One had to do with blowing up dinosaurs. We'd run from hiding place to hiding place, behind bushes, next to the garage, underneath the slide, trying to avoid killer T-Rexes. We had an arsenal of invisible bombs. The violence was certainly my idea. And we'd lob them across the yard. I'd narrate what dinosaurs were hunting us and whether our weapons had made the kill. Sometimes we'd throw soccer balls or various objects, and when they ended up next door, that became a new game. Retrieving our toys from the roofier's fenced-in yard without getting yelled at by Mr. Roofier. Evan was the oldest, and therefore responsible for pulling Chris and I around in wagons or sleds, depending on the time of year. For a while, Evan and I were deemed old enough to come home from school and hang out by ourselves. We used this opportunity to do 2 things that were very much not allowed in the presence of our parents. First, we ate potato chips dipped in Coca-Cola. There, I said it. Oh, it feels good to get that off my chest. This was maybe the biggest invention that was ever invented, and we couldn't believe we had discovered it. We considered pitching the idea to the executives at Frito-Lay. This marvelous invention had a name. We called it soda chips. Creative, huh? The best chips to dip were the ones with the big air bubbles. The bubbles would fill up with soda, and when you bit down, it was salty and sweet, fizzy and crunchy, a delightful Coke explosion. Nobody in the history of snacking has attempted this before or since. Child geniuses, Evan and I. Our product needed a tagline, so we came up with soda chips, the fun and educational snack. Because kids like things that are fun, and parents like things that are educational. I'm telling you, our advertising strategy was off the charts. The second thing we did that was not allowed was watching forbidden TV, specifically Comedy Central. Back then, it was kind of a new channel with stand-up specials, reruns of Saturday Night Live, that improv show, Whose Line Is It Anyway?, and that Canadian sketch show, The Kids in the Hall. We watched as much as we could in that precious 90 minutes before Mom came home. We felt so cool. As adults, Evan and I still do a grown-up version of our after-school hangout. A few times a year, he'll come visit me at my home in Ullin. We'll watch some comedy special on Netflix, which he always lets me choose. We're both decent cooks by now, and we'll make an elaborate dinner and just feast and laugh. It's never as good as soda chips, but it's still pretty good. As for little Chris, he eventually grew out of his painful shyness. It seems that as soon as I left for college, he blossomed. Could my overbearing personality have been detrimental to his development? I don't know, probably. He graduated top of his class, was president of his fraternity, and got a full ride from Syracuse for his master's. He worked in the Senate and at the Pentagon, lobbing real bombs at foreign countries instead of imaginary ones of dinosaurs. I like to think I had something to do with that. I asked him recently, "Do you remember at school when I used to go, 'Hey, Chris?' And he said no. Maybe I didn't. No, I definitely did. Whatever happens, Evan and Chris and I will always have one thing in common. chronic cystic adult acne, and a propensity for skin cancer. Our mom likes to remind us that we got it from our dad. And that's my favorite part about having siblings. They understand. From our shared childhood experiences to our unfortunate hereditary shortcomings, I'm so glad I'm not an only child. I'm lucky to have my brothers. We may have lost the genetic jackpot, but at least we did it together. Thank you.